We got some real varied responses to our survey. For example, here in Remington, which is basically a white working-class neighborhood, community leaders said that they would welcome patrols by the guardian angels. On the other hand, here in Roland Park, a kind of middle-class neighborhood, community leaders said they would not like to have the guardian angels patrol. Ike Jackson, who is the local leader of the Angels, said that's kind of a normal response.
A lot of areas already have their own citizens patrol already, and they feel that the Angels there will sort of overshadow their own patrols.
Does it offend you, Ike, that 30% of the neighborhoods in Baltimore, according to our survey, say that they don't want the guardian angels to patrol?
No, we like that. We like to see communities getting behind their own people and getting out and do their own thing.
The areas that will actually be patrolled will be determined next month by the Angels and the police department together. Community leaders were also asked about the police. About 12% said that they do a poor job. About 38% said fair, and almost half said city police do a good or excellent job.
Well, we're gratified that we have that kind of a response. You would always hope that everybody would love you all of the time, but this is the real world, and that doesn't happen. But yes, the fact that most people think the police do a decent job is good to know.
Hill says the response that especially intrigued him was that 67% of community leaders believe their neighborhoods are safe.
And where things happen, you know, it only takes a minute for a purse snatching, for instance, to occur. That may be the only thing that happens in a neighborhood in a month, so that it is safe most of the time. Unfortunately, there are incidents where things do happen.
Tomorrow in our survey of Baltimore neighborhoods, we'll look at education. I'm Frances Harden on the scene in Baltimore.
I'm Mary Norton. Here at the Reading Resource Center, about 100 students are learning to read after what's been, for some of them, years of frustration. Arthur Savage is one of those students.
Going to get a job and you get an application and you don't know what's on the paper. Well, I mean, it's bad. You can't pull it out. So the man, don't care how good you can do the job. If you can't read what's to be done, you know, the man don't want you.
Mr. Savage is just one of the students here. The others range in age from 10 years old on up. This is a free program for the participants, funded through federal donations.
Look at this. Do you know that word there?
Frost.
Frost. Okay, now you know this word.
Frostbite.
No.
Frostbite.
Bite. Frostbite.
Frostbite.
Find like again. Look at these.
All kinds of sophisticated techniques are geared to each pupil to help people who can't learn to read in the usual school setting or who never went to school. Arthur Savage is not only perfecting his reading skills, he says he's helping his family.
I like the food in this one.
In a large family, and the kids are going to school, and they'll come home and they ask the father, what is this word or what is that word, you know. And sometimes I didn't know it. I have to try to find out.
The program is already in its 5th year of helping people in the Pimlico neighborhood learn to read, and the waiting list seems endless. There isn't enough money to help everyone who wants to learn to read. This is Mary Norton on the scene at the Pimlico branch of the Enoch Pratt Library.
Kung Fu master 21-year-old Craig Hall is one of the instructors for about 50 young people who will be working out of the Redeemer's Palace on North Pine Street. The Palace is a youth outreach center headed up by the Reverend Willie Ray. For several months, it served as a home for the Guardian Angels until they moved into roomier quarters. And now these young Baltimoreans hope to serve in a capacity similar to the Angels, pulling in the reins on crime, with the backing of Colt great Lenny Moore and Local 1923 of the American Federation of Government Employees, many of whom work out of a building just around the corner, Social Security's Metro West complex, which has been victimized by theft and assaults. To try and stop it, the escorters say they will not only patrol, they will also provide a safety escort service upon request.
They would be available to anyone that's basically afraid to come out the house. All they have to do is call. We're available 7 days a week, almost 24 hours a day.
We joined rank with the Redeemer's Palace escorters to combat and prevent crimes against the Social Security employees, as well as all members and so on of the community.
Supporters of the escorters add that their basic advantage over the Guardian Angels, in their minds at least, is that their leadership is here in Baltimore, giving them closer contact with the community's real needs. So, beginning Monday, the Guardian Angels will have some company out on the streets, at least here in West Baltimore. And a spokesman for the escorters says he would hope that the Angels and the escorters can join forces, rather than getting into a popularity contest. This is Ron Olson on the scene in West Baltimore.
The city's top black police officer, Deputy Commissioner Bishop Robinson, was on hand with some grim statistics for this community. For instance, 80% of the people who have been murdered in Baltimore City are black, more often than not killed by other black people.
84% of the assailants were non-white. That's crime, murder.
From Warden Howard Lyles from the Maryland House of Correction, another grim statistic. 78% of those in the state's correctional institutions are black, and the number is growing. And from civil rights attorney Kenneth Johnson, a prediction that without jobs for black youth, the picture will not improve. Right now, people in Baltimore City have a new alternative if they are concerned about crime, as Deputy Commissioner Robinson was quick to point out: the auxiliary police force.
Today is the first day that we've offered applications, so I suspect the applications I have with me this evening are among the first to be offered.
The auxiliary police force is something citizens worried about crime have pleaded for. It now remains to be seen just how many people here will actually join up. Joyce Jefferson, Channel 2 News Scene, West Baltimore.
The insidious video games that seem to be everywhere are not going to be in city recreation centers. The board had voted earlier to try them out for 30 days as a way of getting kids into rec centers and getting the quarters kids drop into the games into the Parks Department budget. Today they voted to abandon the plan, despite coveting the revenue it would have made available to buy bats and balls because of widespread protests from neighborhood groups. They also voted not to close the Patterson Park and Memorial Stadium ice skating rinks, even though they have both lost money, as much last year as $100,000. But they will increase the fees.
All the fees that were formerly $1 would become $1.50, and fees that were 50 cents previously would become 75 cents. The schedule also indicates there would be certain sessions of skating that would be eliminated, particularly the early afternoon sessions during school days, on school days. During the Christmas holidays, of course, we would have full sessions.
Though the cost of skating will go up, each session will be half an hour longer than last year. The Charles Center rink fees will also increase. The hours will stay the same. I'm Andrew Barth on the scene at the Park Board.